Hi, I'm Chris Ryan, a stand-up comedian, and I taught a stand-up comedy class in this very room not long ago. In the first part, we got to know the characters that wanted to sign up to do this course. In this next part, we get into the weeds of joke writing and how to do it. This is called honing the craft.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I know, mate. Yeah, okay, bye-bye.
Last time, I asked you to do some homework and write an opener.
An opener is the first time the audience see you and hear you, and you need to really grab their attention really quickly and demonstrate that you've got this and you've got the confidence and the smarts to be worth their attention.
Our next act is Jackie.
Hi, I'm Jackie. I'm a psychologist. How are you tonight?
That was a beautiful pause. There is a lot to be said. This is about timing, and that sometimes when you leave silence, that's the way of letting the audience have their say, because it's a conversation. Even though they're not talking, their part of the conversation is held up by laughter. Hands together for Sarah!
Hey, have you noticed that women are obsessed with body hair? Well, I'm a midwife and I notice that a lot in my practice. For example, we'd get women coming in labour and they'd apologise to me because they've got hairy legs. They say, oh, I've just got caught on the hop. So there's that. I just caught on the hop. That bloody 9 months to get ready for this.
I didn't get a sense immediately of who you are and what you're about. Like, it felt like you were doing a report. Do you know what I mean? What is your unique insight into women's obsession with body hair? But that is the fundamental thing you need to get to, I think, in that part. Put your hands together for Joe!
Hello, my name is Joanna. This is my pet pig, Bob. And he's actually my emotional support animal. So the fact that he looks like that is a bit concerning. In high school, I was voted most likely to become a cult leader. Which is weird, but I think if I'd done a career aptitude test, it would have come back with something like a children's televangelist. But the problem with being... I've forgotten, I get nervous doing it like this. I get nervous without a character.
Now, you can see from that one little experience, it can be really hard, right? You used calling the room, so you used the pig. Yeah. And that was great because it was right here. We're all part of this scene right now. It's not going to be any other gig. It's this gig. You called that. And immediately I understood if that's your emotional support animal, it's in some fucking trouble, right? Yeah. And that was great. Okay, our next act is Laurie.
This is a very difficult process, comedy. You know, what I think is funny is not necessarily what everybody else thinks is funny.
I'm Laurie Daly, not the footballer. I've got a better nose. But you'd be amazed, there's always someone coming up to me and saying, hey mate, aren't you Laurie Daly the footballer? And I look nothing like him. What if it turned out, instead of a champion footballer, he was a pedophile? And people came up to me and said, hey, are you Laurie Daly the pedophile? Maybe I'd be better off becoming a pedophile first. And then people will go up to him and say, hey, are you Laurie Daly the pedophile?
This has gone down in history, this bit. Laurie still talks about the day that he did that bit. And my face, I think, says it all. Laurie's great. We're mates now.
Now, Laurie. Here is a thing, and it's not just you, it's the world. Okay. If you're beginning comedy, don't tackle subjects that you're not funny enough to do. There are a lot of, and I'm going to say men, who start out thinking they're better than they are. And I'm not saying you're in that category, but what I mean is, like, just talking about an edgy, difficult subject doesn't make you funnier. You have to be very funny before you can start doing funny on that. Because that is a subject that you're going to lose at least half, probably 75%, maybe 90% of my kind of room.
A few minutes after that, I just thought, oh, I'm just not cut out for this.
The core point of this is, right, it would seem to me that you are frustrated with people thinking that you're Laurie fucking Daly.
Yeah.
you don't look like him, you can't play footy, and fucking whatever. You're an alcoholic public servant. For fuck's sake, I'm not that Laurie Daley. Now that's funny.
So I was feeling a bit disillusioned, but then by the end of the 2 hours, I'm right back into it again. You know, I'm thinking, no, I can do this. I'm going to fix that. I know exactly where I went wrong. And it's just from talking to everybody in the class.
It's not a place for strength and hotness. It's a place for being a useless individual and owning that. And the power of it is, if you own your absolute worst and make people laugh about it and laugh at it yourself, you're a fucking powerful individual. And that's hot.
It's kind of hard to watch that because everyone has their own view of comedy, and if any other comedian sees this, they might completely disagree and just go, well, that's wrong. But look, it's not your fucking course, it was mine.
1, 2, 3, 4.
I set them the task of a 5-minute set to write for a performance. They would bring new jokes each week to the set. We would analyse whether they were working or not. They would try them out on stage.
I was starting to inappropriately diagnose strangers in my spare time.
It was exciting to see them develop as comedians.
Narcissist. Borderline.
Patricia will have the salad without the ham. She's a lesbian.
I did find evangelical hype Instagram priest.
You embodied this really vulnerable, scared little weird girl. And it was perfect. How did it feel up there?
Great.
Yeah.
It could be worse. Imagine if he was some sort of criminal and then I answer the phone, hello, Laurie Daley, and they go, is that Laurie Daley, the serial killer?
Your Laurie Daley stuff is tight. It's ready to go. You improved it infinitely.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You've been great. What a great night we've had. You're all champions. Give yourselves a round of applause. That was brilliant. That was so good. My God. Okay.
How are you feeling ahead of your first ever stand-up gig?
I'm actually extremely nervous. I've been practicing to my children at home. They don't laugh.
My biggest hope is that I don't suck, and my biggest fear is that I'll suck.
I'm thinking of curling up in a ball and spending some time doing that.
Feeling very heartened by the feedback everybody, and particularly Chris, has given me. I've got to do it now.
So they've just had 4 weeks of comedy classes. They've written their first set. Now they've got to practice it because they've got to do it before an audience. And all of that will be in the final part, taking it to the stage.